All right, let's get this going. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to SeaRUG. My name is David DeYarce. I'll be your host today, and I will try to get out of your way here as quickly as possible and hand it over to these good folks who are going to give us a wonderful presentation today. Topic today is working with wall types. And I have to do a little disclaimer here and be totally transparent. When I got, in the board, we have this thing where we have to approve the presentations to make sure that we're giving our audience really good value. And it's always this dance, right? We've got these sponsors that give us money, but we're trying to tell them what to do, so there's always a little bit of tension. And when I got the proposal, there were a couple of options, and it's like wall types. And I'm like, groan, what year is it? And then a light bulb went off. I got like full-on combative, like, no, there's no way we're going to allow this. And then it's like, wait a minute. If wall types is such a remedial thing that we should never talk about again, why do I keep getting Revit models with generic 5-inch walls all over them? So I'm like, no, this is actually quite good. Let's dive into this, and let's make sure that we actually know how to do the basic stuff that sometimes is not as basic. But that it's really the key to success down the road. So I actually kind of had to go through my own mental gymnastics to get around to really looking forward to this one. But I got there. So anyway, and we've got Eugene coming back, who we all know is a great presenter. So looking forward to this. As usual, thank you to all of our sponsors. They're the ones that make all of this possible. As I've been saying all along this year and from the end of last year, we're kind of changing things around a little bit and allowing industry companies here in the area to be part of the sponsor family and to present. A few people have started to warm up to that idea, and we've gotten a few inquiries, but I always want to put that out there. If you're doing some great work and you think your company would benefit from sponsoring and presenting your work, if nothing else, this is a fantastic recruiting tool. If you come up here and you show us the cool work you're doing, there are people in the audience that are going to be like, whoa, I want to be part of that. So if you're hiring, if you're looking for BIM talent, which is, as we all know, hard to come by, this is actually a really great platform. And of course, a big thank you to the board members that helped me in putting these things together and running the direction of this group. You all know who you are, so I'm not going to read your names out loud. And speaking of recruiting, I have an interesting one. This has been floating around LinkedIn, and so I reached out to these guys and said, hey, do you want me to put a listing out here? Lana, you don't need to look at this. Stop jumping. The Walsh Group is looking for a construction technologist here in their Seattle office. So I know a good number of the people that are kind of at the national level. This is a group that is kind of a leader. And I mean, I take all these companies that claim to be really innovative a little bit with a grain of salt, because it's a very difficult industry to really push change in, as we all know. But these guys do really good work. The posting for this job was pretty lengthy, so it wouldn't make any sense to put it up here. And the URL was kind of long, too. So if you have any interest in this, look me up after the meeting. Give me your contact info. I can get you all the details. But they're looking for a full-time BIM VDC technologist type of position. So stick around. At the end of the show, we've got our usual $25 gift cards. We've got 2 of those to give away. If you don't know how you get on that list, if you are SVP through Meetup, then your name will be in the hat for these. So without any further ado, I'm going to pass it along to, are you guys Ideate IMAGINiT? What are you calling yourselves these days? Just IMAGINiT Technologies. Well, Greg, why don't you go ahead and take it away and tell us a little bit about IMAGINiT Technologies, and then we'll have Eugene knock our socks off with wall types.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks for having us. We always enjoy the opportunity to present to the group here, and I guess maybe to dispense with introductory notes. Our company is and always has been IMAGINiT Technologies. For those of you who don't follow all the movements of the Autodesk channel, we joined forces with Ideate here in the region a year ago. I think it was Monday this week. So We still had this combined logo, which is it'll slowly go into the sunset, and from here forward, you'll see Ideate Software as its own company. They have persisted on their own. They continue to develop an array of Revit add-on tools and will continue to do so. We are maintaining a partnership with them that we resell Ideate software. So for any of you that have questions or curiosities about that, we're happy to discuss further. So thank you for having us. My name is Greg Bow. I'm the regional sales manager for IMAGINiT. I sit in Seattle when I'm at a desk. My compadres here with me today are Brian Keeley, who many of you probably have talked with on the sales staff, and Eugene O'Day leads our technical services in the AEC sector for the Northwest region, or the West region, I should say. So since I've been seeing this picture or pictures over the last several days, and every reality capture and laser scanning company has made an ad out of it, I guess. I just wanted to extend our condolences, and to any of you in the area who might have any work on the remediation, our best wishes to the folks dealing with the fire in Paris. That's us. Gave you our names already. And IMAGINiT Technologies, in case you don't know us, we sell Autodesk software. We're an Autodesk Platinum partner. We sell a very wide variety of their technologies in the AEC and manufacturing sectors. More significantly, though, we provide an array of add-on services, from basic levels of technical support, classroom training. We've got our lab here in Seattle and Portland and in, I think, about 40 other cities now. Any types of stock classroom training that you want to see over the web or in a classroom, that's we encourage you to reach out for yourselves individually or for your companies, and certainly any kind of customized training that you'd like, we can provide also. We get deeper then into implementation services, helping tune up the Revit environment. Many of you here, I'm sure, are already there, but we're happy to help with furthering your implementations. We do health checks, and that's actually, and talking with David, we'll probably talk about that a little bit further in more detail at our next meeting later this year. So anyhow, that's a little bit about us. In the IMAGINiT News category, we have also just joined forces with Advanced Solutions. They're more to the east of us here, I guess, if I'm pointing in the right direction. About 85 people joined the IMAGINiT family through Advanced Solutions, and we're happy to have them on board. Kind of like the Ideate tools and IMAGINiT tools that we have in our portfolio, our add-on complementary benefits to our subscription customers. Advanced Solution also has their suite of Revit add-on technologies. I don't have a lot to say about those just yet, but we'll be talking about those further, and it's just growing the list of supplemental tools and utilities that you can get with your Autodesk software through IMAGINiT. So keep your eyes peeled for that. In case you don't know, Revit 2020 is out. I'm not exactly here today to talk about that. I did find, if you haven't punched Revit 2020 into Google and found this one of the I think top 3 hits, this is probably I found this to be the most concise and action-packed blog post on everything that's new in Revit 2020. It is a very action-packed and feature-rich release. You could go kind of down a laundry list of what's been new and improved inside of Revit, but I'd certainly encourage you to take a look down this blog post. Lots of embedded YouTube videos. These are all just 2 or 3 minutes each, so it's easy to thumb through this and get a look at what's new in Revit 2020. So a lot of good things to come. And with that, I believe I'm going to pass the baton here to my colleague Eugene, who's going to talk about walls and wall types in Revit.
Greg, which one of these is your water? Because You don't want my cold. You do not want my cold. Hello? Hello, hello? There we go. How's that? Ooh. I think that's pretty good. All right. Let's just move this down a little bit. Because I'll be screaming here. How's that? Gentleman in the back row on his phone. Cool. All right. Let's start off with a poll. What do I want to ask? Since this is kind of a newbie one. So who's new to Revit month to a year? Show of hands. Okay. Year to 4 years. I need them high. Okay. Old timers, 5 plus. All right. Cool. That helps out a little bit. Architects, show of hands. Interiors, show of hands. Construction, show of hands. Okay. Any MIPS people? Any MEP people? What are you doing here? This is about walls. You gonna cut through walls? What are you gonna do? Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get a good feel. Any, I guess, ventured into, other than Dave, that I've heard, download 2020? I have been on the road, so I have not ventured into that. Didn't want to try to do that in my hotel room at all. And it took you how long, you said? Really quickly after you got it all?
It was pretty quick, but I've got really fast internet. So
There you go.
The download was like 20 gigs or something.
It's pretty big. My counterparts around the country, we had a phone call in. We all tried it the different ways, and one gave up on the desktop app to just install it from the desktop app.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Download it from your
That-
subscription page. And from.
That'd be best. That'd be best. Chris, did you download it yet?
No, I did the beta.
You did the beta, so you don't need to download it. Is that what you're saying?
I did download it once, but then I did the online
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
virtual beta. So.
Virtual beta. Gotcha. Okay. So here's our agenda. Let's talk about the differences between a generic wall and a compound wall. We're going to create a compound wall with varying materials. We're going to create a vertical compound wall with varying materials. We're going to get into sweeps and reveals within the wall family and outside the wall family. Also talk about editing of those as well. Given time, we'll create a custom profile. We'll see where we're at. That would be like getting into families and creating that. Who's created a family before? Not a wall family, but a outside family? A couple hands. Who's created a wall family? Who's tried? Chris, you should raise your hand. You created a wall family. I know you have. Who's created a system family before? How's that? He's getting me on terms now. Yeah, okay. A little tips and tricks. All right, so what is a generic wall? Remember, this is a minor interactive, so you have to talk to me. And I'll point to people that can't talk to me first. So what is a generic wall?
It has information just based on thickness.
Based on thickness. Why do we use generic walls?
Where we don't know what it's actually made out of.
Yeah,
You need to place a placeholder.
that's the word I'm looking for. I use it as placeholder. Chris is going to say no to me, but I use them as placeholder. I got to show a wall. So at early stages of design, I don't know what that wall is, but I have an idea of thickness. I'm not committing to a wall. I can do a material takeoff and find out where have I not committed. I can create filters and visibility graphics on things. Where have I not committed? Okay, so if I paint something, who uses the paint tool? Why? Because it's there. Okay, so if I paint brick on a generic wall, it looks like a brick wall. How do I know that I've committed or not committed to that wall? I can do a schedule. I can find out where these things aren't. Okay? So that's pretty much all of that good stuff. So it's an idea. It's not for building materials. It's not a finalized wall, as we heard earlier today, that people get them and there's like, it's just 5 inches. What does that mean? Okay. Compound walls. They're built with varying layers. This is going to be your studs, your sheathing, your brick. That's your compound wall. Each thickness is represented in this wall. The true thickness-ish, because, you know, do we really get 2 by 2.5 studs? 2 by 6-ish? And all the material is there. Why is that important? Material takeoffs. So one of the last, it could have been the last presentation I did here, was about the different Ds, and one of those is doing schedules and exporting out and getting costs. Well, I can't do that if it's generic. Final design, right? Ish. It's the representation that we want. What's vertical? Different layers going up versus horizontal is really what we're talking about here. So you can see that, I don't know if this is going to work, we'll find out. Talking this right here and this right here, going vertical. Okay. Here's all of our different ways to draw walls. It's important because they're based upon what? You guys can say. Layers. So they're based upon wall layers. So you have cores, finishes, and based upon those, where it's going to reside. So when you're drawing an exterior wall, how do you like to draw that? Finished face, core face, center line of wall, center of core. You have these different options to draw. When we're building the walls, these are things we take into consideration. All right, I'm going to really go hop through this because this should be very simple. Pick the wall button. Choose a generic wall to start with, or one that is close to what you want. Because you can't, as Chris said, you can't create these from scratch. They're system families. So starting from scratch would be using a generic wall. Edit it. Name it. This is probably one of the most important things. What is a function and why do we use them? For those people that are knowing, give me 2 reasons for functions. What's that? 2 reasons for a function. 2 reasons. Lana? To use it. Why do we use that? Chris? Okay, that's one. Okay. Other reasons? Exterior versus interior? Okay. So when you schedule, when you filter, you can schedule and filter by a function. When you export, you can export based upon GBXML. When you export to CAD, please don't do that. When you export to CAD, what layers are you exporting to? So if you're using traditional AIA, and if this is an exterior wall, then it's going A-wall. If it's an interior, I-wall. If it's a function, you can do something with it. Okay? How many people knew that? Okay, so if you duplicate the generic wall and it's interior, that's an exterior wall because the function says so. Then we go into edit. And this is pretty much, most of the thing we want to do here is hit that preview button. That's going to show us the different layers and how we're building the wall. It's not tit for tat when it comes to sizes. It's just giving you a representation of what's going to happen. There's 2 different looks and feels for this one. We're going to start off with the plan, and then we start adding reveals and sweeps and stuff. We'll switch over to the section view. Okay? All right. When we're building this, we're building it based upon these different layer functions. So function 1, structure. Pretty straightforward, right? Concrete, stud, those things. Substrate, what's that? Typical plywood, right? Number 2, though, that's what's important, 1 and 2. 1 cuts through everything. 2 will not cut through 1. Okay? Why would we use this? Thermal and air. What's that for? Depends what we're doing. Insulation, air. Okay? What about this one? This one has a 0 thickness. Why would we use this? Material takeoffs. So if you're not doing material takeoffs, does it matter to have it? No, because you're not tagging it. You can't tag 0. GB and XML. Yeah. It has to have a thickness to get out.
You can filter it out like that layer and then give it a dash for your diagram.
For your dash for your diagrams. Cool.
Just because you're not doing a material takeoff doesn't mean somebody else won't. And you can use your model to put it in.
Goes back to that very first statement he had. Put it in there. All right. So there's 2 finishes, finish 1 and finish 2. Finish 1 is for exterior, finish 2 is for interior. Notice the numbers. If gypboard hits brick, brick should win. Right? Okay. Now, when we get into it, this box we're going to pop into here is really the same if it's a floor, ceiling, roof. It has the same look and feel for layers. But in a wall, it tells you where's exterior side and where is interior side, because on a floor, this is top of floor, bottom of floor. Okay, top of roof, bottom of roof. Yes. All right. So you sign it. A couple of things we want to do. Move it if you need to move it. Give it a thickness. Give it a material. When you get into the material box, I had done one of those before in this session as well. We're going to search, because I'm like in the search box. Instead of scrolling, you can just type stuff in. It's a lot quicker, at least for me. And then you use the insert button, and you just keep building as you go. Up and down buttons, all that good stuff. Here's what we're going to build. Got to remember how to do it old school. All right, so I have a wall. Click it. Edit it. It's a generic 8-inch wall. Here's our function that we're talking about. So when we look at the different functions, we have interior, foundation, retaining soffit, and core and shaft. Okay? And as Chris mentioned earlier, foundation's the one that goes down, and you cannot change that when you draw walls. Everything else can go up, for the most part. I haven't tried retaining walls in a very long time, so I can't remember if that goes up and down.
And if you pick the structural wall versus the architectural wall, you can draw those on the way.
Because it's structure. Exactly. All right, so this is exterior.
So in the ribbon, right, go up to the walls in the ribbon.
We're talking the difference between these two.
If you go to the structural tab, they're exactly the same, just flip. If you draw a structural wall, it gives you the option to go up or down.
For foundations only. Everything else, but foundations, if you're in structure, you can go either way. If you're in architecture, always down. All right, so I got that. I need to duplicate it. And I will fat finger stuff, so don't worry about it. And hit edit for structure. Pop over here. And now it's time to build a wall. Okay? So first thing I'll do is I already have structure in here. I'll give it my thickness. I'll give it my material. And then I'll insert to go above. And I want to move it up. I'm going to say this is a substrate. If you click right there, it'll get you the materials right away. So that's where that little dot is. Okay, so that's basically trying to save time, if you will. And I'm just typing in the search engine to get that, and I want 3/4 of an inch. Next one, I need my cheat sheet. Can't remember what I'm building now. Been talking too much. All right. Oh, retard vapor. All right, so insert. Let's do membrane. And as David said, we're going to do it no matter what. Grab that. 0 thickness. Do another one. This will be air. And this will be rigid insulation. With 1.5. And one more, which will be air. Oop, 2 more. And then brick. Outside finish is what? 1. All right. And 3 5/8 of an inch. Oop. Thank you. I got too many in there. Let's delete that. There we go. All right, so we look at it in level 1, get a little closer, set my level of detail up, visual style. There we go. I did not put JIP on there yet on the other side. Pretty straightforward? Okay. So I can always go back and grab it, edit it, go back to edit structure, add and or delete anything I want. So chipboard is finished what? Finished 2. How thick would you like your JIP to be? You're gonna make me choose, huh? All right, I'll choose the easiest way to type. There you go. Nothing, I would say, rocket science about that piece. It's the other pieces we'll get into now, okay? So I'm going to throw a door in here because that's going to be our next topic. All right, so right now, nothing's wrapping around the door, correct? All the materials is straight across. So we go back to the PowerPoint here. I'll skip questions here. Wrapping of layers. So there's a couple different ways to wrap them. I want to do it in the edit assembly box because you have some control of that. So what you actually have the ability is to wrap the inside, doors, windows, and then the ends. And then this piece right here, you have the ability to say what we are wrapping. Make sense? Okay. Okay, and then again, here's your different options to choose from. No wraps, end wraps, both wraps, inside wraps. Cool. And I will provide PowerPoint as a PDF for you as well. Because I'm going to skip some stuff as we go. You need to close all that stuff. Wow. All right, so if I grab my wall and I hit Edit Type, here's the spot right here that I can adjust my wraps. Again, the problem with that is I don't get to do the checks. Okay, so that's why I always come over here to edit the structure to get into that. And then again, down below here shows us, if I say I want to wrap the exterior, wrap the exterior, it's going to show me that I'm wrapping all of those based upon the checks. So if I say I only want to wrap the brick, I just uncheck what I don't want to wrap. Cool. The next piece would be the interior, and unfortunately the pretty picture doesn't show us, so this is where we get in and get out and check what we want to do. And I'm going to say just wrap the exterior as well, and I'll say okay to that all the way out. So you'll see here that the brick wrapped and the brick wrapped. Did you want the brick to go there? Some people do. Some people don't. This is not a function of the wall. This is the function of the door. Okay, so I have, in my tips and tricks, I have a picks and clicks for you on have to edit the door family to do that. Okay, so it's not part of a wall. Questions? All right, vertical, a little tougher.
If you're doing installation inside the studs, how would you show the material?
I'm doing insulation inside the studs. How do I show the material? David, how would you like to see the material? Insulation inside the studs.
Not one I've cracked.
So it's tough. It's tougher. Do you need the stud layer? Because if you need the stud layer, then that's a tougher one to do. Chris, how have you done it?
We make a new material called studs with insulation,
Studs with insulation.
and then we take 20% out or 10% out depending on what stuff we're using
For
for insulation.
when you say 20% for the takeoffs. Yeah. So if you just want to show it, then you can say stud with insulation when you tag it. But if you're actually trying to get material takeoffs or calculations, what he's recommending is a percentage when you do that, taken out, because you're doing your calculations on it.
Because you also can't tag the insulation.
Because you can't tag the insulation too. Very true. All right. So vertical compound wall, I'm just going to skip through most of this, but this is what we're talking about, adding different layers to this. Okay? So there's a couple buttons that we're going to get into. It is going to be the section. We have to have a section to do it. We're going to use the modify button, we're going to use the split button, and we're going to use the assign layer buttons to do this. We'll come back to these other buttons after all of this. Okay, this is the tougher one. What you're doing is you're hitting the split tool and you're picking just to the left of that to basically split that layer up, if you will. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here to this one because we're just do it all at one time. This one always tricks me once in a while. I forget, but what you do is you create the additional layer if you don't have it, and then you hit the assign button, then you pick, and then you pick. Okay? And again, I'll do that for you. All right, so we select our wall, edit type. You would duplicate it if you were trying to do that. In this case, we're not. We go to edit, and then we're going to switch over here to the section view. The other thing we'd want to do is adjust the height appropriately, and we'll see that in a bit. When I go off and I do a split, I'm going to zoom up really, really, really close, and just to the inside of that, there we go. And I get my split line. Now, if I messed up, what you don't do is hit our lovely escape key. What did the escape key do? Canceled me out. Okay, so sit on your hand when you're doing walls and don't hit the escape key because it's going to, whatever you do, you lose all of your work. Okay, I always like to do this in stages. I like to go off and do my splits and switch back and do anything else I'm going to do because what I want to do is save my splits that I've done. Okay, so again, I'm going to go back to edit, and zoom a little closer. Okay, so I'm going to split it roughly right there. And what I want that to be is actually 2'6". And what I'm going to do is hit modify, hit the little split line. The dimension pops up for me to edit. I'm going to go 2.6. He's messing with my design. I'm just going to say it right now. Yeah. All right, and then the next one, split. I'm going to split it right there. Now, if I'm really good and I'm not, I can get that to be, ooh, I was really good, 1 foot, without having to change the dimension. And I'm not really good. So I usually just pick it, hit modify, and then adjust at that point. Okay, and actually, that's supposed to be 8 foot 6. All right, pan. I want another one. This is going to be my 1 footer. And where's the dimension going from? Can anybody see it? From the top, because my wall sample is not appropriate. So if I set that wall sample to 40 feet and then do a split, I'm getting it to the right spot. Okay? And again, let's say modify. Let's do 1. Up. I won't change this one. We'll just leave it. And then, okay. The okay saves all my splits. Okay? Because the next one can be a little trickier. So I'll get back in, edit my family, edit the structure, and get a little closer. So what I want to do is I want to add another one. So this will be a finished one. This will be lightweight concrete. Don't argue with me, Chris. And I'm not going to worry about the lightweight. Then what I'm going to do is assign a layer. So remember, it's assign layer, what layer to what. Okay, now this is with all of those layers the same thickness. Okay, so we're not talking about a different thickness going on here. So again, what the process is to start off with is assign layer, pick your layer, pick the area. Now, once you're in the assign, I don't have to do that step again. I can just go to the next one and just pick the next one. Okay? And when I'm done, green check all the way out, or okay all the way out. Cool? Now, if I messed up on something, let's say that I really didn't want this, that's where that next button comes in, and it's called merge. So if I want to merge these right here, what do you want to merge? Okay, so there's the merge button. If I go up, it's really hard to see because I can't zoom any better. You got a little block that points up. That means that I am moving concrete up. Okay, so I brought those and merged those together. If I point it down, that means I'm bringing concrete down. And I totally messed up my wall. But you get the idea of the merge? Okay. Any questions there? Not quite sure what you mean. So, ooh, what is my split now? So in this case, in this here, not designing the wall, yeah, it's not going to show you any of that material, right? And if that was a roof up there, let's say, and I attach this wall to my roof, then that material would show up. Yeah. Depends on your tag. And how you're tagging.
Wall tag.
So you're using the wall tag by type. It's the wall tag by type. If you say material, then it tags the material on it. But it depends upon the type of tag you use and the parameters therein that you use. Okay. Did a lot of, sure.
I can see that you have two different materials, but then what if I cut it through and looking at it on a floor plan? Would I be able to see both a concrete and a brick at the same time?
Where are you looking at? Where's your cut line?
In your layer, you have all of them, so my cut line would be where the brick is.
Then you would see
Only the brick.
only the brick.
Okay.
Because you're seeing where you're at,
Yeah.
looking down of where you're at.
Even though you have two different materials in your layer.
The top material, in this case, because it's the same thickness, right? If it was a different thickness, that extra thickness below would show up, and you would see that. But since it's the same thickness, you're seeing that initial layer that you're cutting at. Yeah. Yes. So what is a sweep and a reveal? What's a sweep? Okay. And same person, reveal. Okay. So a sweep adds material, reveal subtracts material, in a sense, cuts out material. Okay. So in Revit, there's two ways to do these two things. We have it within the wall family or outside the wall family. Okay, so we can do it either direction, if you will. We're going to do it within the wall and without the wall. All right. Profile. That's what we're sweeping. Okay, material, because profiles have no material. Okay. Distance. We'll skip that. Come over here to from. Top or bottom. Where's the sweep going to be? Okay. Now go back to distance. Distance from the top or from the bottom. Okay. Side, exterior, interior. Offset. Offset from that initial location. X, Y, or not X, Y, but horizontal. Do you want to flip it? Okay. What's a cutback? Cut wall. You have material. So if you've embedded it like a soldier coursing, do you want that material to be cut? And now the soldier coursing is there. What about cuttable? That's very important. Okay. Have you ever stretched a sweep before? Have you ever wanted to stretch a sweep before? Okay, some people are not even understanding a word I'm saying right now. I'm getting the deer in the headlight look. Okay, well, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. So if it's unchecked, it's able to stretch. If it's checked, it is not able to stretch. Okay, I'm going to skip the rest of these and get back over here. Oop, oh, man. There we go. Is that the finished one? Oh, that's the finished one. Man. Oh my goodness. Chirp, chirp. I don't know how that happened. Well, let's go and edit. Well, that's why. I am picking the wrong one. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so you pick your wall, edit type, edit structure, preview, most important, because you need to know where things are going. Right? Sweep. This is one of the nice buttons. I skipped it. This is one of the rare occasions we can actually go load a profile if it's not in your project already. We'll do that a little bit later on. But you hit add, and then you grab your profile. I want the 5-inch. I want that. I want to go 2'3", 3'2" and 5/8 from the base. Apply. Oh man, I got my number wrong. Zero at the top. Yeah, we'll do that. I got my numbers backwards again. Dyslexia got me. All right, let's get rid of all of that. There we go. Okay, I always like to do the apply just to make sure, and then I move on. And we'll do another sweep. I am just going to grab this one and I'm going to duplicate it because the only difference is going to be that number right there, which is 11. Okay, and then I'm going to take that one and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'll change one of these two to be 12 and apply and flip it. Cool. Okay, and then the last one I'll do is at the very top, and then it's going to answer your question, lady in the front row. And I'm going to load one here. So I'll go sweep, load, and I'm just going to grab the ones out of the install. Cornice, there it is. Okay, and then add, and it will be on my list now to choose. We'll say that. All right, now right now it says base, so I want to switch that to the top. So if this was the parapet cap, that would answer your question there. I want this to go inside. I want it to have a setback of minus. I got that right. Not a setback. My numbers are all off today. That's why I do the apply. All right, and then, is this important? Everybody should be shaking their heads because we don't want this brick right here to be counted, do we? We want it to cut through, right? There you go. Cool. All right, why would we add sweeps in a wall family or reveals in the wall family? I gotta make it pretty. Okay. It also is going to be because this wall, these walls and these sweeps and reveals for the entire place of this wall, right? It's every place this wall exists. What happens if it's just one place? Do you just create one wall family for that? I'm getting the front row saying no, but nobody else is committing. The answer is no, we don't. We would do just add a wall sweep or a wall reveal to that individual wall. Okay, is what we would end up doing. All right. Pretty straightforward tool. You're going to find it under wall, sweep reveal. You pick a spot, disappears on you because you need to restart. Okay, we're doing horizontal, I can say do a vertical, restart. Same thing for reveals. Okay, now if I want to adjust that, I can edit this. I'm kind of skipping around here. I can join these two if I want to do some fancy stuff, right? And then I could just use my join tool. And that's what I've done. Could have done the same thing with a reveal. So I'm adding pieces to that. I want to create a reveal right in here for these two walls. When I go off and I go to architecture and I go to sweep, I said reveal, but I meant sweep. I have to have it loaded first to grab it on this list. So what I'm going to do is go to open, grab it, load and close, and now it's in my project. Okay, so I just went and found it, loaded it, and now when I go off and do the sweep, I'm going to edit type, I'm going to duplicate this one, say okay. Here is the profile that we want to use. There's the one I just loaded. What material would you like to have? I want cherry and okay. And I want horizontal. And I want it on this wall and this wall. Restart. Cool? So that's just a profile that's sweeping or cutting materials. Okay? Now to edit these, how do we edit it? It's a trick question. What are you trying to edit? Was I was trying to get from you. So do you just want to move it around? Do you want to change the location of it, dimensions, align? All of those tools work. If I want to change the appearance, going back to the family and editing the family to do that. In this case, if I wanted to change the materials, I got to go back and do an edit type, right? And there's the materials. If I want to change the profile, I would edit type and grab the profile, okay? If I want to change, I don't know, the returns, because I have the exterior returning, but not the sweeps. They won't do that out of the box. And then I heard Chris do some mumbling, didn't really hear the mumble. But this right here, it doesn't cut. What is it cutting to? To the opening, not to the trim. If this is unchecked back in the wall family, I can edit this. Okay, so I can use the align tool, grab that face and align it. Okay. Over here, it's a little more tougher. Get into here. All right, so what I want to do is pick my wall, modify the returns, and I just modify return. It's at 90, so these are my options here. I'm going to go and say, let's turn that corner, and let's turn that corner. Escape. A little closer here. When I pick on the wall, now I have two grip boxes. This one allows me to pull and cut. Okay, or I would use the align tool to that face. So how many times have you drawn something that you want to pull or stretch that reveal or that sweep? This is what I asked earlier. So if it's unchecked, you can do it if it's in the wall. Cool? And then, of course, if you really, 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 truly want to add to the cost of your wall, you can do different angles. Here in the contractor's grown now because of that little cut. That's just another cost, right? We're just adding a fee, right? That's all we're doing. All right, questions on those? Okay. I have a couple more minutes here real quick. I'm going to do one tip and trick. I'm going to then put up the one for the doors. Yeah.
In the instance where you were editing it in the family, the cornice,
Yeah.
would the return on that cornice look the same way?
Yep. Yeah, those were actually inside the family. It could have been in or out, I believe. Yep. All right, so how I do that? Yeah, the flickering thing. Well, Greg, you should know how to do that. Just what? Unlock it and pull it down. All right. So right now, if I pick my wall, they're just one pull. Okay? So I need to get in here and edit that piece to give it the pull. So again, edit type, edit, pop over here. You have to be in a section view to do it. Our favorite modify button. If I pick here, what do I get? Padlock, if I grab it. Oops, missed. This could be a different interface. There we go. My pick's just that bad. We'll find out. Yep, my pick was that bad. So grabbing both, you can't have one go down and the other one be a little different. They would both come down. So you would actually get one arrow that would pull those two layers down. Okay. What's that? Yes. Ooh. Let's verify if they have changed. You know, it did work in one release. It was really, well, I should say beta. No, it's not letting me. Come on, come on. There we go. I should be able to do it here, though. Missed it again. Something on my video is not happening, but I would check 2020 to verify if it's not 2020. So you can only do two, basically, as long as they're connected. Right.
The other thing is if you put in a number of what the space description, what it says 0.4, whatever, if you put a number in there, then you can be consistent across your exterior elevation.
Right. So what the lady in the front row is talking about is I just pulled this down. That is that number right there. Minus. Change order. I like that. All right. Okay. Here is picks and clicks on the door family to change that brick moving in. Questions? Yes. From my understanding, everything is the same. Wall's a wall. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, not that I'm aware of. So I guess the first thing I want to ask the question is what is a function? What is a wall function? exterior, interior. Okay? Are you going to use generic walls? Maybe. You going to pass a generic wall over to David? No. Okay, where's the design at? Where are you at? So I like to, Chris can argue with me, I like to use them early on because I need to show a wall. I'm not going to commit to my wall. Now, I could create a placeholder wall, that kind of is what I want as well, but somewhere I need to be able to search for that, right? So I can now make that final decision. I'm committing to my decision. If I just swap it over to a particular wall, I really haven't committed to that decision if I'm using that as a placeholder. Okay, that's why I like generic, because it's easier for me to search. But you got to be able to know where have you not made decisions, where you think you made decisions, but versus where you made decisions. Okay. Other questions? You want to give out some cards? I think we're ready.
I've got just one question.
Sure.
When you export, say, a wood frame wall to AutoCAD and give the structural engineer their drawing, AutoCAD drawing shows you just the wood layer, the siding layer, and the structural only needs really the stud layer. You just turn that off and AutoCAD does the two outer layers to make it easier to look out?
Okay, so refresh my mind, folks. If I set my level of detail to coarse and export out to CAD, I'm just getting the two lines, correct? The finish is what you're saying, okay. And you want the stud. Carl? No, you can't totally get rid of them. You can control a little bit of it, but you can't. If you made them parts, then the answer would be yes, because you can turn on the visibility of parts. But that's going down a deep road for that. Yeah. Come chat with me. All right.
So just as I said, fascinating. Did you ever know you could do that much with walls and wall types? That's actually pretty cool. It's one of those things with software that oftentimes surprises you. You think you know something, but there's a ton of depth in there. It happens with Photoshop, happens with Revit, happens with a lot of things where you might actually be using 10% of what the software can do, and there's a bunch of stuff inside of the functionality that is really, really great. And kind of the point that I made earlier, and all jokes aside, yeah, somebody else might want to do some QTO out of this, but the more thought you put into your model, the more useful it is. I'm glad we didn't get into a debate over to whether modeling 40-foot high walls when they're never going to be built that way is a good idea or not, but that's for a different day. But for instance, one of the things that I know I was guilty of pretty early on in Revit is I paid very little attention to materials because I thought, hey, Revit's got data. I've got materiality and things like that expressed in the family name or in the function of what I'm using or whatever. But if you use the materials within those layers, there's a bunch of stuff that opens up. Like if anybody is using any of the quantification, like Roombook, stuff like that, you can check a box that says quantify by material, and Revit does a beautiful job of spitting out a spreadsheet with areas, linear quantity, count for any material that you want to break down. So it's pretty remarkable what you can do if you're a little bit disciplined. So Eugene, that was really great. Thank you very much. And I'll just give away some money and let everybody have their afternoon back. If you wouldn't mind doing the honors and picking some names out of this, we'll see if there was some attrition from the RSVPs. We might have to pull a few, but go ahead and grab a handful of names and let's find two winners.